Hi everybody, this is Dr. Terry Chase. Thank you so much for joining me on this video series. What I do in the world is I work with people. I help them learn new things. I help them move forward in their life. I have a big background in healthcare and education, teaching and coaching, and I'm going to be sharing some of those highlights with you through this series. So welcome to video one. We're going to take a little bit deeper dive into looking at how I see the world and the importance of experiential learning, experiential teaching. Now, if you want to dive deep, you can certainly pick up the work of David Kolb, who's done a lot with experiential learning over the years. I've been totally influenced by that, by his work. I've been influenced by the work of Jane Vella in her dialogue education, her learning to listen, learning to teach, and certainly the work of Malcolm Knowles in The Adult Learner. So these are resources I would highly recommend to you and really putting things into practice. And certainly I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my experience and my training and teaching in Gestalt therapy. So Creative Process and Gestalt Therapy would be a great book. But the way I see the world is experiential learning is really the heart and soul of my work. I want to bring people forward. I really want to touch on all of the body, mind, spirit, and all the different ways that people take information in and put work out into the world. So I've been influenced by experiential learning and teaching my entire life. If I think about my undergraduate training as a physical education teacher, it's all about learning the games, learning the ball, learning the techniques. It's also about how I learned in the work of Gestalt therapy and Gestalt psychotherapy, really putting things into action, learning by doing. My whole training process in spiritual psychology at the University of Santa Monica was not just about talking about the concepts of spiritual psychology and counseling and how you put that to work. We actually did our own work. And more recently in my career is my time with horses. So that's a big experiential learning experience there. We couldn't just talk about how incorporating horses into mental health therapies or spiritual growth or personal growth, any of that. We had to actually do it ourselves. So to me, it's the core foundation of how I do my work in the world, and I invite you to learn more about it. So another very, very important piece in my development as a professional teacher was my work in Colorado Outward School. So Outward Bound was started back in the 40s by a man named Kurt Hahn, who was enlisted by the British Army to help train younger sailors who weren't working very well, who weren't actually basically surviving. So he developed a school where we learn about resilience, we learn about self-care, we learn about teamwork in the presence and in the environment of the outdoors. So the Colorado Outward Bound School for me, I did my first experience as a student and then subsequently became an instructor for Outward Bound, where I would take students with backpacks on, climbing gear, and we'd be out in the hills for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. Don't you know the environment, the wilderness is really that natural teacher? Because we had to learn by doing. If you didn't set up your tent right at night and a big storm came through, you would immediately know the consequences of that. So that's the kind of work that I do. I don't take students out into the mountains anymore, but I bring that spirit of let's work together, let's test ourselves beyond what we think we are doing so that we can go further. So my philosophy as a teacher, as a coach, as a presenter, whether it be my keynotes or my breakout sessions or my coaching groups or my one-to-one work, is that I really want to activate the body, mind, and spirit of my learner. And the way that I do that is not just by talking, but it's by engaging them in the process, engaging them in the dialogue. It's really about helping them call forth their inner kid sometimes. A lot of times in my breakout sessions or even in my keynotes, and certainly in my coaching groups, we're doing things that are fun. Because I think when we come from a lighthearted, a playful approach, we're going to be more engaged, we're going to be more activated, and certainly we can learn more. So please join me in the next few segments of this series where we're actually going to take a look at some of those practices that I use and certainly invite you to try them out for yourself. Okay, I'll see you down the road.